Hey guys, my name is Jose Brown, and this is going to be a quick tutorial on how to use the Animate.css style sheet. First, I'm going to show you how easy it is to get started. Then we're going to use JavaScript to do two things. First, make animations happen only on certain pages, and second, make animations happen based on a user event, like hover or click. So let's get started. Alright, so to demonstrate how easy this is to implement, what we're going to do is animate the logo of my website. I think it'll be cool. So the first step is to go to daneden.me/animate. It stands for Daniel Eden, the guy who developed the style sheet. And you want to scroll down a little bit, click on download on GitHub, and you want to get either the regular CSS or the minified version. I'm going to click raw and copy all this stuff. Then I'm going to go to my CSS folder of my website, create a new file, call it Animate.css. I'm going to paste all this stuff in here and save it. Once it's saved, make sure you upload it to your server. In my case, that happens automatically in Sublime. The next step is to include it into the head section of your website. So in my case, that involves just going to modx, and I'm going to copy this line, and I'm going to change this to Animate.css. That's it. Now all we need to do is add two classes to any element we want to animate. So remember, we're animating my logo, so I'm going to find it here in my HTML. It's going to be right here. And what I'm going to do is add a attribute called class equals, and I'm going to add the class animated, and then we're going to go back to Daniel Eden's website, back, and we're gonna, the second style we're adding is gonna be the animation style that we want. So if we want to bounce or a shake, we'll put that there. In my case, I like, let me see which one. I like the bounce out down. No, I want to do the bounce in. There we go. The bounce in. So I'm gonna just copy this text right here. Then I'm going to go back here, and that's going to be my second style. I'll save it, and now we're going to go back to the page, refresh, and we should see it animate. Let's see if it works. Simple as that. It really can't get any easier than that. Alright, if you're happy with this, feel free to go ahead and play around with the different animation styles. But what I find annoying is that every time we go to a different page, it does the animation, every single time. So I want to limit it to just the home page. So we're going to do this with jQuery. If you're in Chrome, load up your console and type console.log and log the location object. I'm going to show you what we're going to use to do this. In the location object, you're going to see that there's an href element that is going to show you what page you're on, and that's a cool way. Like if I go to the projects page and I run that again, you'll see that now the href element is now going to be projects. So we're going to use that to tell jQuery what page we're on, and I'm going to say that only when we're on the home page I want it to add that style to the element, whatever element I want. In my case, of course, the logo. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our site and remove the manual adding of those styles. We're going to do that with jQuery now. So get that out of there. Save it. If we go back to our site, it should no longer animate. Good. So now we're going to go to jQuery, and we're going to go to our sites folder. However you reference jQuery, you could easily just add a styles script in the head section of your page. But I load a .js element, a .js file in the header of my file, so it's the same thing. And in here we're going to do an if statement. We're going to say if the location object's href element is equal to http www.josebrown.com. I always want to type Google. Then we're gonna add, using jQuery, we're gonna add that add those two styles to my logo object. So we're gonna do the jQuery object. We're gonna tell it the logo element. So and then we're gonna say add class, the add class function. And we're going to add those two classes to it. So we're going to add the classes, what were they? Animated and bounce. I think it was bounce in down, I think. It's end that, and let's save that. So that again is going to automatically upload to my site. If we're on the home page, it should work. Let's see. Location is rich. Why didn't it work? Location href http www.josebrown.com. I don't know, it should work. Let's refresh again, see if it was maybe caching it or something. I don't know why it's not working. If location href is equal to, I think if we, I think I know what it is. Let me do location again. No, we're going to do the console.log location, and we're going to look at it. See, there's a / here, so we want to make sure to add that / there. We're going to head and save it, and let's see now if when we refresh, if it adds those styles. There we go, perfect. So now this is good, but also remember that if you don't put the www, then that href is going to change. So if I go back to my console, once that page loads, and I console.log the page again, let's see what's happening. What's happening? All right, and it console log the location again. You'll see that the www is going to be, well, now it's remembering the site's name, so it's putting that in there automatically. But if I console log it like this, you see that if they just type josebrown.com, then that's going to be different. So what we want to do is also say or if they type it in a little bit differently. So we're going to space, and we're going to remove the www dot from it and save that. So if they do this, let me refresh, you saw nothing happened. Now it's gonna, because now that style is in there. And also notice that now, let's close this. Now it only does that on the home page. See, so all these pages, there's no animation, but if I come to the home page, bam, you get your animation, which is more practical. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it so that you can use these styles on hovers and clicks. So what I did was I wrote these two little functions that I'm going to list on my website, josebrown.com, if you want to go and get it. I'm just going to drop these two things in here, right? I want to drop these two functions. One of them is called animation hover, and the other one's called animation click. And all they do is you send it an element, and you send it your animation, whatever you want, whether it's a bounce in, down, a shake, anything, and it does everything else for you. You know what I mean? So I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but I think that really helps. So I'm gonna get rid of that whole thing. And what I want to do, for example, is I want to animate my logo. Say, for example, so I want to do animation hover. I want to animate the logo every time someone hovers over it. So then I'm going to pass it the logo, which is the ID. That's the selector. And then I wanted to do a ta-da. That's one of the styles that they have. And it's as easy as that. So whenever I hover over my logo, it'll do that. Let's make sure it works. Let's go over here, refresh. So it should be that every time I hover over it, there you go. You see that? If I hover over it, it animates. Isn't that awesome? Pretty cool. Now the same thing for clicks. Now let's make it so that every time I click on this container right here for my welcome text, that it does something. So if you see the ID is welcome text, so I want it so that every time, let me just copy this. Every time I click on that container, for it to do something. So I'm going to say, instead of animation hover, you can see that my next function is called animation click. So I'm going to just click, and then welcome text, and then I want it to, I don't know, ta-da's fine. I mean, you get the idea. Let's just refresh, and now every time I click on this, you see how easy those functions make it for you to add stuff. This is whenever you hover, and this is whenever you click. It's simple. It's as simple as that. And that concludes the end of the tutorial. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, or improvements that you want to make to the code, please feel free to join the discussion at josebrown.com, and I hope you guys have found this useful. Peace.